Welcome to the Wings Event Center, the Zoo, home of the Kalamazoo Curling Club here in Kalamazoo, Michigan. 2023 USA Curling Mixed Doubles National Championships. 16 teams competing to represent the United States at the 2023 Mixed Doubles World Championships in Gangneung, South Korea. This morning's broadcast, myself, Tyler George, back in the booth after a night off, joined by Sarah Shuster, willing to join us again as this is her husband's game. Sarah, thanks for being back here.
Thanks for having me back. I didn't know if you would after the last one.
You did a great job, Sarah. Not good enough to get the H out of your name.
Yeah, I saw that. You know, once I become more famous as a commentator, the name will be spelled correctly. At least there's no C in Shuster. That happens a lot.
That's the one you see all the time, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're not missing that one.
Nobody sees.
We are underway. That first stone in the top of the 8-foot for Aileen Geving. Kim Rime and Jason Smith on the other side. They have the hammer in this first end. 4 more games on tap today. These will be the last 4 of the round robin. Any possible tiebreakers will be tomorrow morning. Playoffs start tomorrow afternoon. Have to be careful not to say the word tiebreakers too loud if the ice crew can hear. They don't like that word very much. Here are our standings in Pool A. Mercer Replies still undefeated at 5-0. Geving, Shuster, Hamilton, Rhymes, Smith, all 3-2. Burr and Burr, Fountain, Cott, Moores, Wheeler, 2-3. Rohrbacher, Skevy looking for their first win at 0-5. After that draw to the top of the 4-foot, here is John Shuster. Throwing the in-turn draw. Seems as though the microphones are working just fine today, so should be able to listen in to the players a little bit. Sarah will get to hear her husband again. Another reason why she's happy to be in the booth with the headset on.
Yeah, it's fun being able to hear them out there.
Really nice shot there by John, bumping that behind the tee line, creating a pocket.
1 for 1.
That's 100%, John. You hang him up right now.
Game over. Yeah. I know one thing John was going to try to do today was not sweep Eileen's rocks too far. He's been a little overzealous on the sweeping this week.
That's good that he's aware, and the self-deprecation helps too when those mistakes are happening. And it's good for your teammate to hear that. So yeah, I made a couple mistakes on your stones. I'm going to do my best not to mess it up for you today. A good start for John on the shooting side of things too.
Watch that first one right to the top 12-foot.
Here is John Shuster's best man from his wedding. Jason Smith, not just former Olympic teammate, but 2 of these is very close, as you see often in the curling world, but best man is about as close as you can get, Sarah.
Yeah, these games are always tough when John plays Smitty, or as my kids call him, Uncle Smitty. He has been John's best friend for a very long time.
Whether or not the pictures show up, I can assure you it is Kim Rime and Jason Smith taking on Aileen Geving and John Shuster.
We're sharing an Airbnb with them this week too. I'm just getting to know her, and she is a sweetheart as well, so it's been fun.
Your 8, the call from Aileen Geving. Looks like it's really turning over and dying now. Trying to hold the line for this tap. All swept by Aileen. Then he's shot rock now, and no guard in play.
Looked like it was gonna tap to a dead freeze, but like you said, those striking bands just pop that back a little bit.
Yeah, we have mentioned that a lot this week, Sarah. That's right. The striking bands being so live that rocks with any kind of significant tap, there's a lot of separation there. We have Kim Rime and Jason Smith both competed in the men's and women's national championships in Denver a few weeks back. Both skipping their respective teams. 3 skips playing in this game. A lot of
John
sweeping
did
for
say
Smitty.
he owed Smitty one this time for Smitty beating him in the Nationals with Jared Allen in that opening game.
This is true. Smitty's team with Jared Allen came out on top in the opening draw of the men's championships. I think John is just fine with trading the loss in that game for the eventual national championship. We don't really remember too many of those losses, and there are Aileen and John. Those pearly whites flashing.
I think John has a little opening here to remove that and be set up okay.
Yeah, a little bounce off there with that draw freeze. Didn't quite get inside either. So an open hit for Shuster to sit 2. Good part for Geving and Shuster is that yellow stone on the back of the forefoot is dead frozen. That red stone and protected by their own on the top of the 8. This one overrolls. Even up with the other one. Not sure if there's a double there still because that red stone on that roll probably blocks the double. I would expect Smitty to probably play the draw here. Have to excuse us too with the names in the booth, as we're very familiar with the players most of the time, but it's hard to call Jason anything other but Smitty.
It is.
Just doesn't ring true.
Feels weird.
Jason doesn't sound right to me. Smith is
sounds
easier.
a little weird too.
It's better than Jason.
Smitty just rolls off the tongue.
Yep, that's who he is. That's Smitty. That's a lot of what I had to deal with during the Olympics too, Sarah, calling John's team's games is they basically told me if you're going to call one team by their first names, you have to do it for both.
Oh, good
Otherwise
luck with
it
that.
sounds strange.
Yeah.
I said, well, calling them Landsteiner and Hamilton and Schuster and Wise sounds, it's awkward for me, obviously.
Right.
But I kind of went back and forth with it. But that's a much different broadcast than what we're doing here. This is a more personal atmosphere here. Consider you all our friends watching at home.
Absolutely.
So this intern draw from Smitty is to finish up a little bit. Doesn't want to bounce off on this line. That's pretty well done.
It did finish in there nice. I thought it was hanging a little bit there, but they do curl at the end.
Yeah, we're not seeing a huge finish like we saw maybe at the beginning of the week. It's a little bit less severe, but still plenty of curl to make any shot that they want. John talking about the line they're taking for this freeze.
It's
Just
definitely
outside
still
edge
room there
eight.
for another rock, so.
And they'll have to get a little close to that rock in the top of the 8 foot to get shot, but last stone of the first end for Geving and Schuster playing the intern freeze. It looks to be all there. Definitely needs to curl. They don't want to bounce. Trying to get up now. Line's very good. Pretty good. Looks as though red is still shot rock. But force now likely lined up. Maybe an out-turn draw to get to the butt for a second point. Looks like Jason is looking at that angle. Yeah, see, it still doesn't sound right, does it?
No. And they are doing that.
Well, they're throwing it away. I thought they could maybe try to walk that down on the out-turn side.
Yeah, I thought at least attempt it. Not sure why not.
Yeah, that's what John is saying right
Looks
now.
like you couldn't hurt.
You don't think you can get there?
I'm okay with it.
Sarah doesn't mind not trying it. Clock management, they're saying. So it is a score of 1 for Ryman Smith. And after one end of play, they lead Geving and Schuster 1-0. Back for the start of the second end in our feature game this morning, the 2023 USA Curling Mixed Doubles National Championships. Ryman Smith with a 1-0 lead over Geving and Shuster. I believe we need to start off the morning talking about Warm Room Hero once again. Is your curling club website clunky and unworkable? Are you tired of your club relying on social media because your website just does not work for your members? Finally, the curling management software your club has been waiting for is here. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club today. We have been made aware that player mics are not getting out for the main feed for people. Those of us here in the booth can hear them, so if there's anything worth knowing for you at home, we'll make sure to report on that. Tyler George here with Sarah Shuster once again. Sarah acquitted herself well enough in her opening broadcast that we're having her back in the booth, and don't know that we would have got the yes had her blushing bride not been in this feature game, but lo and behold, here we are. So Sarah, thanks again for helping out and joining us and making it more fun for me as opposed to doing the solo broadcast.
Always a pleasure. Based on my NF2.
And they're 1-0 when you broadcast as well.
I know, that's really why I did it.
Yeah. Sarah, being the wonderful wife that she is, refused to do another game if they lost the game that she was broadcasting for. You see the other matchups on this morning's draw. Sheet C, Persinger Plies with that undefeated record, taking on Fountain and Cott. Sheet D, the Burr squad against Claire Moores and Lance Wheeler. And on Sheet E, Harley Rohrbacher, Vince Skebby against Matt and Becca Hamilton. A little deep on that first draw from Aileen Geving now. Opportunity for Jason Smith to lock another one in there after Kim Ryan. A very nice freeze in her first. Sarah, we know Kim can draw. We've seen that in the women's game over and over again.
She's sweep is the question. Like
sweeping looks pretty good right now.
Well, that one pretty good.
I carried a rock a long ways.
Poked out the other side there a little bit.
John saying he wants to move these stones around, tap them both. Play it with a little more weight, try to get tight to the guard.
Yeah, accidentally wrecking on that guard wouldn't be the end of the world. See if Aileen can hold one now.
Aileen really leaning on this one, trying to get by the guard. Shouldn't be a problem there.
It's like a lot of room.
That's very well done. Good sweep, good throw. A lot of backing now for that stone at the top of the button. I'd like to mention, too, this morning on a slightly somber note, the passing of John Milkey. Coach and USA curling player, supporter of the sport for so long, and all you need to know about John as a person is just going on social media. It's reading all the comments about everything he did for each individual that he came across in the curling world and outside of it. John is very much missed, one of the good ones in a sport that has so many great people. Get a chance to reach out to the Milkey family, please do. We send our best to them as well here with USA Curling Stadium. Kim Rhyme sweeping this out turn draw. Trying to get all the way down to this stone in the top of the forefoot with a corner freeze. Carries that one a long ways too. I don't think we have any questions about Kim sweeping at this point, Sarah. I'm sure for teammates from women's are watching at home, they know they're going to hear all about it now, that how great a sweeper she is. Now, sometimes we like to give skips credit for how well they sweep. With John, we don't really need to because he takes great pride already. He is a very good sweeper. We'll give him that. He likes to show that off.
Well, he did sweep a lot of rocks when he played back at Benson, too. So his curling career in professional curling kind of started like that.
Yeah, for all of us, we were probably sweeping at the beginning, too. For John, he played on an Olympic team where he was sweeping. So he's covered all the bases, really, in his curling career.
It's looking like he's going to have a nice shot here again.
A couple comments in the YouTube chat that the Person Replies game against Fountain and Cod is not being streamed right now. See if we can check up on that, and I'll ask people who know more about that than myself to get that going. I think it should be fixed now, hopefully, guys. Smitty looking to see if he can possibly make the double on these two yellow stones. If he can see enough of that, hit where you can see, they may both go. He does love playing these, especially in turns with up weight. I believe they both will go if it's hit correctly.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I expect him to make this.
Smitty indeed playing this double. The intern side. Clean release on that one, came out good. Very close to the red stone. Makes contact with three of them. Moves their own stone out of the 4 foot. Geving and Shuster still sitting 1. Ryman Smith sitting 2nd. A decent chance to maybe put up a multiple point end now. I think I agree with John here. They talked about maybe putting pressure on by playing a hit and sitting 3, but if you don't roll that away, it's a pretty simple freeze to the pocket to kill the end, even if it's against 3.
Yeah, it's tempting as someone who doesn't curl as much as they do to want to remove that red stone and make it look pretty, but then it does set them up nicely to tuck one in.
I think if that guard wasn't there, then they would play the hit. The guard would protect against being able to peel that stone out if they play the freeze. So correctly called here. Schuster playing the out turn draw with hammer.
Traveling down the sheet, it looks like it's moving pretty quickly to me.
Aileen calling 7. It looks like it's all of that, maybe a little behind the tee line. We'll sit 2, both on the back of the 4 foot. So Kim Ryan with an opportunity to play a freeze, possibly help get out of this end. But Sarah, that stone on the side of the 8 foot can be used for an in-off, even if they play this freeze. It'd be difficult to leave it in a spot that Aileen wouldn't have at least a chance to get that stone out, whether it's for 1, 2, or 3. Kim Rhyme for this out turn draw. Try to get this all the way back to those yellow stones. If they can get it right in that pocket, make it very tough to remove.
Their draw over here doesn't get freezed out now too, so it's, well, it's not.
A little on the wide side here, it looks like right now.
Well,
She could even come in off of that on the 8th.
the guys took our space away now by
Still trying to come up. It's just now off of that red stone. Sits shot rock. Wondering if they can get action off of that enough to spill it out of the 4 foot. They don't quite have the whole stone. John thinks that they're getting a considerable amount of curl here on this line still, even though Kim Rhymes didn't really finish up there. Out-turn tap for Geving.
Likely for 2 if she makes it.
Looks like it should be there for 2, we think.
Tap.
Line is a little tighter than Rhymes, definitely, so it's all about the weight. Trying to get it to get to nose. And looks like it may just be a single. Oh, 1 it is. And after 2 ends of play, Rhyme and Smith, Geving and Shuster tied at 1. Third end of our feature game here. Draw number 6 for Pool A, 2023 USA Curling Mixed Doubles National Championships. 1-1 score, Ryman Smith, Geving and Shuster. Take a look at the other scores. Across the sheets, Persinger Plies with a steal in the second end, now lead 2-0 over Fountain and Cott. Into the close, final stone of second end on sheet D, Burr and Burr trailing Moores and Wheeler 2-0. Regan Burr about to throw her last stone. And over on sheet E, the Hamilton siblings have been heating up with a couple wins in a row. They take a 3 in the second end now to lead Rohrbacher and Skebby 3-1. It's this intern freeze being played by Aileen Geving, and that's perfectly done. Little high five on that one. After a couple of miscues on Eileen's first and the previous 2 ends, 1 short, 1 deep. No problem with that one. Just throw it in between the 2 you threw the first 2 times. Perfect.
Yeah, that one didn't require much sweeping. Oh, hello.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Cup of coffee, all set to go.
Tim Hortons.
Thanks to Gabby for running downstairs to grab these first 2. This one coasts by for Kim Rhymes, so both teams having a little bit of difficulty with that opening draw. A good opportunity now for Geving and Shuster. Lock another one on. And the double freeze on that back red stone. Sarah, you may see early on Smitty electing to bail and open things up if this is made. And with so few shots to throw in mixed doubles, you have to make that decision very early. Gabby, we thank you on the air for the coffee. You got to mention that we're live right now. Everybody's hearing this too. Same thing with a little deep on that draw again. Creates a pocket for the intern draw for Smith. Again, with mixed doubles, it only takes one half miss for the end to turn on its head.
Yeah, you go from thinking about bailing to not thinking about bailing.
Yeah, oh, we have a great setup now.
Yeah. What does John say? Mixed doubles happens?
Mixed doubles does happen.
They all seem to look slightly quick on this track today.
Sarah, I should say too, the coffee we have in front of us, very happy that this is the first time this week that I've been able to have a little Tim Hortons. You can wake up to freshness with Tim's 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches, featuring fresh cracked eggs. Pair the new vanilla cream cold brew with chocolate cold foam, or a vanilla flavored latte with chocolate syrup. Thank you to our local sponsor, Tim Hortons, located at 5709 West Inch Avenue near I-94 in Portage. I just have a regular old black coffee here from them myself. Nothing added. Perfect for what we need right now. I think you notice there's a little extra pop in our voices this morning. That's thanks to Tim's. We appreciate it. Take a sip right now while we listen to John commentate for us on the show.
Seems to be better.
Needs to go a little bit to get there. Trying to hold the line too. Not a bad spot. Now Smitty thinking that it might be time to play that run for a second.
Well, I think she tapped right next to the yellow, didn't she?
Maybe
top button.
Maybe change the mind real quick. I think Smitty saw those angles and immediately thought, "Ooh, maybe I can blast this." And thought, I don't need to.
Yeah, he likes to blast. I like blasting too. It's more fun.
Play the more fun shot. That's what we say.
John saw me. He said, "Oh, we got Sarah on the mic again." And Aileen laughed.
I'm now aware that his wife is commenting on his game, wondering what could she be saying about me. Anything and everything, John.
But he's very handsome.
Like now you did, yeah. In-turn draw now. That freeze being played by Smith. Over curls just a little bit, but not a bad spot. Listening into John and Aileen.
He said, "I think we're just freezing now again," which kind of seems to be the name of this game at this point from this end.
You have 6 stones in the 4-foot circles as of now.
My father-in-law likes to call these ends mousetrap.
That one tiny misstep and all of a sudden you're caught in the trap, no question. Shuster playing the out-turn tap. Curling tight to the guard right now.
Seems like it's all over it.
It's maybe a tight guard with the weight too. May have accomplished the purpose though. Guards are staggered, so can't really use either one. Maybe can see enough of the one left.
They can't hear Kim, I think, still. Is that correct?
We don't think they can hear.
She's talking about how...
If somebody on the YouTube chat wants to let us know if the players' mics are coming through. So we know that we can hear them. We're not sure if you can at home. Let us know if you're watching. And we know if we can play it out. We are being told, yes, there's no player audio still.
Okay. So she's talking about how John and Aileen will probably tap that yellow up and be shot on their next shot, and she's wondering how she'll get it out. So
there we go. We'll relay it to you best we can.
I mean, I think others are doing it, but even so, if they touch it,
Thank you, Blake Hagberg, for reiterating, making sure we know. You're doing well, Blake. Remember, if you're joining us for House of Hearts too, Blake, let us know. I think maybe you are. Turn draw here, getting a little tight to that top one. Oh, just needed a little bit of sweep to get by. There's one that you
can't hear.
There's one we didn't want the mics to pick up. Just a little colorful language from Smitty. All right, Blake says he will be there, and he's forgotten completely about splitting the Kings. So, Ryman Smith still sitting 1. Looks like now with where those red stones are set up, if Geving can tap those 2 reds pretty close to nose, a little inside nose, that Geving and Shuster maybe sitting 1 after the shot. Trying to get this to turn over, tap those stones.
It's about right where they wanted that.
Just enough to get shot. Not sure that there's a whole lot Smith and Ryan can do inside of maybe running the guard in if they can see just enough of it maybe to clip that red stone at the top of the 4-foot into the yellow and then off of their own in the back. That is what they're looking at.
One thing I do know about this is that big inning.
They're saying there's no risk to it.
Famous last words. I think I agree with Smitty, but
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of risk there.
hey, you just got to hit what you can see of this guard, and it may be there to score possibly 2, I think.
And that's what these days are for.
That yellow stone, that shot rock would come off of the red one in the back of the butt and then spin out. So then it's just a question of whether or not the rock on the back of the button for red would still be second count.
That one looks pretty locked in there between those 2 yellows. Red behind it.
Yeah, just a little bit of separation there. How far back will it go? We'll see. Final stone here of the 3rd end.
Looks like she's just peeling it.
Yeah, just a little on the wide side, but only a score of 1. 3 singles so far to start this game. First steal. This was a steal in the first too, wasn't it? They're counting all those stones up in the 4s. Got to be pretty good to get them all in the 4-foot circle. So after 3 ends of play, Geving and Shuster leading Ryman Smith 2-1.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
On to the fourth end of action, our feature game, the 2023 USA Curling Mixed Doubles National Championships. 9 a.m. draw. Geving and Shuster after that steal in the third, now leading Ryman Smith 2-1.
I think they have to put, I think it has to put it in the house.
In-turn draw to start the end for Aileen Geving. That freeze is perfectly done again by Geving. Got that one down now.
You know, it seems to be when we do not have the hammer, Aileen makes that freeze every time.
Wait for it, wait for it.
That's so important, starting the end with a make on that shot. For both teams, that first shot's so important. First one to flinch usually is the team chasing. Kim Rhyme now playing the outturn freeze.
It's a big steal of 3 over on Persinger Plies. Found it caught sheet, but they had every single rock in the house at the end of that.
A lot of draws made by all the teams around these sheets right now. Usually that means that somebody scores 1 when we have a whole pile of stones in the 4-foot. Here are the score updates. On that sheet C, Persinger implies after the steal of 3 that Sarah mentioned, leading 5-0 over Fountain and Cobb. That team just continues to roll. Sheet D, just hanging the score from the last end right now, and Moores and Wheeler with a 4-point end take a 6-1 lead over Burr and Burr. And on sheet E, a steal of 1 in the third as the Hamilton squad up 4-1 over Rohrbacher and Skebby. Again, our feature game 2-1. Geving and Shuster leading Ryman Smith. Once again, stacking these rocks in the 4-foot. Chess match continues, just playing for position. And Sarah, when both teams are executing this way and every draw is within a few inches of where you're trying to put it, as we mentioned, with all that work that's done, it seems like the vast majority of the time somebody ends up scoring a single point.
Yeah, when you get that many rocks in a small space, just seems to be one or the other at the end. But this great sweep by Kim again.
Try not to roll too far on the bump. That's just about perfect, I think, from Smitty. And another great sweep by Skip Kim Rhyme.
Make sure you note that.
We say it extremely often, all the great people in the sport. Kim, one of the nicest people you'll find in any walk of life, let alone the curling world. I believe I commented after the Nationals on Facebook, so I wish we could bottle Kim's positivity and energy. Could sell it and make millions.
I agree with that. Yeah, she's very awesome.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite people to call games for too. Just listening into all the positive comments, but still very self-aware at the same time too. It's hard to combine positivity and self-deprecation. She manages to do it well.
She keeps Smitty in line good too.
Yeah, that is not an easy task.
Yeah, he needs that.
Her husband has plenty of experience with that too.
He's joking around this morning if we should just let him sleep till, or if we should wake him up. But Aileen was right. She said, "Oh, Kim won't let that happen."
That's totally fair. Smitty talking about making freeze on the back Yellowstone. Tough spot to get to.
To lie 3. Oh no, that yellow one in the back there is.
Yeah, red sitting 2 right now, and yellow second and third.
I think yellow's second. Yeah, you said that.
Yes. Glad we agree. Take a couple more sips of that Tim's coffee. Everything will be good.
I need to do that.
Jason Smith now playing the intern tap instead. I think this is probably a good call. Also changes the angles a little bit more. That red stone on the top of the forefoot on the right side of the overhead. They tap this up. They can probably sit 2, and the tap is a lot harder for yellow if they move this stone back. That's very well done.
Once
They can
again,
play the
lots of
angle
rocks
raise.
in the forefoot.
Yeah, John might play something with a little more weight now, trying to move these things around. Comes one of your fun shots, I think, Sarah.
Just hope it's fun for yellow at the end. Looks like we'll probably lose more than just red ones here.
I'm not sure a yellow stone goes out. There's the one on the back of the 4 is on the left side on the overhead. Might get pushed out wide. But I don't know that any other yellow stones, unless the shooter goes out, actually leave.
These are the ones I just cross my fingers and go, we'll see what happens.
Well, we know how terrible John is with angles, and how many times he messes these up.
Oh,
so,
right,
I mean,
right.
anything could happen.
I'm always amazed at how good he is with those angles and being able to figure it out.
I guess it wasn't dripping with sarcasm. That does the job there. Moves the requisite stones out. And as I told you, Sarah, those yellows just kind of stuck around.
It's like you've curled before.
Yeah, they were all lined up to pretty much stay exactly where they were at. Shooter even stays on the wing too, so really good result there for Geving and Shuster, even though there's only one shot left in the end. Difficult for Jason to put something in a spot where Aileen won't be able to get to that number 1 counter, as they have the out-turn bump and the in-turn. So Smitty's gonna have to come in with another one, try to get probably cross as far as he possibly can on the button to their own stone. Just really curling.
He's by the guard.
The rock at the top of the forefoot is the problem.
Yeah.
Might want to just
Not
let
by
this
that
sit.
one.
That chip is still there. Sit 3 now for Geving and Shuster. As good a sweeper as Kim Rhyme is, there's no chance on that one. That was always ending up right where it did. The former Miss Sormanen. See, I even said it with acknowledging that it's former as opposed to the 2 slips yesterday.
Make sure
Which
everybody knows you know.
Yeah, and I think I credit that to being the 7th game in 2 days and starting to stare off a little bit. Getting a reboot last night, feeling fresh again today. Here is Aileen Geving's last, playing this little angle bump to try to sit 3. Line looks real close. It's made right now.
Nice shot.
That's perfect. Well
About as
swept
good
by
as you could do
Shuster.
there.
Yeah, that's a great throw there from Geving. Looks as though a couple different options.
Looking to play the double on the back 2 and just give up 1.
That is the plan of action, trying to keep it safe. You can make this with a whole bunch of different weights. That rock at the top of the 8 foot is always going to be the one that saves you, even if the shooter rolls off. Just need to get both of these out of the 4 foot. If you're feeling really gutsy or absolutely had to, you could try to paper that number 1 counter and then make the double on the other 2. Triple these out and score 1. But only giving up 1 point, trailed by 2, not a big deficit. Could also draw the side of the button to give one, but they're thinking this is probably a little easier shot, and I agree. So final stone of the first half of this game, Kim Rhyme. To get up just a little bit, and does. That's a good shot there by Kim. Committee says it's a triple, and it is, as it's a clear third stone. We always count it when it's a triple. So a steal of one for Geving and Shuster, and at the break, they lead Rhyme and Smith 3-1. The fourth end break is brought to you by Warm Room Hero, the intuitive curling club software that takes the stress out of schedules, registrations, and more. Warm Room Hero, a platform built for curlers by curlers. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club today. 3-1 at the break. Geving and Shuster leading Rhyme and Smith.
Let's say you're in high school and there's a sport you like, but sometimes you think, you know, it might be cool to try a new sport.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
Fourth end break in this feature draw again this morning. Taking a look at standings in this pool as we're getting close to playoff time. 3 teams will advance out of this pool. The top seed gets a bye into the semifinals. So Persinger and Plies, with a win, will secure the top seed out of this pool. Geving, Shuster, Hamlin, Rhyme, Smith, all competing for those second 2 spots, second, third seeds. But all these teams at 2 and 3 still alive as well. Burr and Burr facing a deficit that you need to climb back from to get back in it. And Fountain and Cott the same against Persinger Plies. Then on the other side of things, Pool B, TC and Dropkin, I believe by virtue of their win over Strauss and Casper, with one more win would also lock in the #1 seed in their pool and that bye. Strauss and Casper close to getting a playoff seed. Anderson, Stapera, nickel in good position for the 3rd spot. And Anderson, Richardson still battling to stay in contention as well. There you see that score with Hamilton, Rohrabacher, Skeving. That 5-1 lead. The Hamiltons trying to stay alive for the playoffs too. Whereas in Wheeler looking for their 3rd win. And there are our leaders in this pool. Again, they hold that lead. They will be the #1 seed and secure the bye in this Pool A. Sarah, when we played men's and we had that situation come up, which we did a few times in the Nationals and the Worlds, when our seeding was locked in, we'd bring our alternate in to play the final game. And usually what we'd do is we'd have, and when it was Joe Polo, we'll just refer to Joe. I would play the first 5 ends, and then Matt would come in for me and play 3rd and play the final 5 ends. So good to get the alternate some action, rest the players a little bit, but still stay sharp. Don't have that option with mixed doubles.
Yeah,
These
no
2 players will be
alternates here.
playing. If you aren't worried about mixing things up too much, you could change the lineup and have the opposite player throw the middle 3 and or the first one, last one. But other than that, that's about the only thing you can do to change things up without having another player. So with Persinger Replies, it'd be interesting to see if maybe Chris throws the first and last and Vicky throws the middle 3 just to change things up, or if they want to keep that lineup the way it is, keep the momentum going in the playoffs if they do indeed hold on to that lead and go to 6-0.
They used to play that way where Vicky threw the middle 3 when they first started.
I don't know how Chris would ever agree to do that, because then he doesn't get to throw peels, hardly ever.
Was Vicky playing with Plies at the time, though? That's what I don't remember.
Yeah, they've been together for a while now, if I can remember right. I don't know exactly how long.
Well, Aileen on her first one, we talk a lot about the ice being slightly faster after the 4th end break. Got caught up in that. But the
Once
second
again,
shot looks good there.
Yeah, that wall of 3 stones. The back of the 4s, the back of the 8s. But Geving and Shuster sitting comfortably in front of those 3. Kim Ryan holding the line here. Looks like it's going to be real good. Good sweep again by Ryan.
I'm going to have to make her some extra protein after this back at the house for all the
She's
sweeping.
working hard.
She's really been doing a great job holding those rocks.
Score is 3-1. Geving and Shuster leading in the 5th after that steal in the 4th end. Back-to-back steals at 1 point. Don't have to score multiple points in an end when you score in every end. They have scored in 3 of the 4 ends we played.
Didn't this happen to Smith and Rhyme earlier this week, where there were a lot of 1s on the board in many ends?
Yeah, yes it did. I think there were 5 singles in a row for their opponent. I think it was Lance and Claire that they played against in that game. We said during the broadcast that you almost would rather just give up a 5 than 5 ends of 1, because at least you have time to come back and it's less frustrating than continuing to give up that single point.
I half expected a power play on this end just because they're behind by 2, but maybe saving that for later.
Heard a no bueno from John on that one, being a little bit deep.
A little Spanish out there.
30, 40 gets there with a little sweet.
I'd rather hear Spanish than 4-letter words, so that's good.
The bump got me to 30.
Yeah.
It was probably at 40.
14.
I wasn't trying to take as much ice as I got.
Yeah, he's right by there.
Well, he was the back.
Intern bump being played.
Yeah, just kidding.
They like to kind of nestle into that pocket. They don't want to move the rocks too much. Line looks very good again. Good position there by Smitty.
Never the run.
That was my first inkling.
I mean, if I ever hit it wrong, or
Shuster lining up this run back now.
hit it to this side, I think we're
While they're lining
I
this
think
up.
these two will go.
Send our regards again to the Haig family. Connie Haig passing away yesterday. Another outpouring of support on social media. We send our best to the Haig family, to Jenna. Connie, one of those people that anytime she was around, just made everybody happier just for being there. And be very sorely missed in the curling community and elsewhere. Sarah, one of those people, whenever you think of them, it just brings a smile to your face and all the positivity that they bring. So, heartbreaking news there. Again, our best to Jenna and her family. And it's one of those things with the curling world. The best thing about it is what makes it so difficult sometimes, that you have so many close relationships with people, and meet so many amazing people, that when it's that widespread, these things happen with John and Connie, and all you can do is give support the best you can. Wish him well. Shuster now playing that tap, unlock those stones. Rolls a little bit to the open side. May see Smith play the hit and roll. That's what he's eyeballing right now.
Yeah, it looks a little better than it did before, but it's still scary.
I think this one's pretty stuck. So you should always have this freeze.
Some yellow ones flying here
Double,
potentially,
double in the top two.
and some reds behind them.
Yeah, they're taking Broom outside of the stone, which tells me Jason's not throwing this one particularly hard. Hard enough to move both and roll in, but not appeal.
They happen to nose this, it doesn't.
Like firm weight. Just to get up just a little bit to get to the inside. That's a great shot. Rolls right to the face of their own, and looks like they may be sitting 3 now. 2 at a minimum. So a little bit of danger for Geving and Shuster. You're really in a situation, Sarah, where you have to almost consider hitting and giving 3, or at least hitting and making them play for 3 by hitting that open red stone in the back of the forefoot. Multiple options, but you're playing scoreboard here as much as anything else. Your shots to cut them down to anything more than a chance for 3 are pretty risky shots. We have been listening in this entire time, and they're running through multiple options and the scoreboard. Now that was my initial thought, Sarah, is just nosing the back one, sitting 3rd count or 2nd count for the time being, and then making them stick around and hit for 3.
I was like, get up. No. I did see how bad. Regular Corey Draken over here.
Kim was just talking to Jason behind the hack there about a run if she makes this perfect. But
Yeah, there's not a lot of room to roll. You have to play it soft if you want to get that inside. Looks pretty good out of hand.
Yep. Whoa.
Well, backing out a little bit. And ends up, I'm kind of surprised they played with that much weight, but it was just a kill shot first and foremost.
No, it can just be a draw for, well, they can hit that one too.
Yeah, it's a draw with maybe backing, but you're just playing to a clean draw. Can't come to the face of your own stone, though, as that rock in the back of the forefoot would be third. The final stone of the fifth. In-turn draw for Kim Rhyme for this very important third point to try to take the lead in this game.
Probably the right.
Lining this up. Probably keeping in mind that they have that stone for backing, but just playing to a clean draw. Smitty communicating that the weight is all there to go to the yellow one. Now turning over.
John's saying, you're fine, you're fine.
So a nice shot there by Rhyme. Good communication between Kim and Jason on the weight and the line on that shot. Is indeed 3. So after 5 ends of play, Rhyme and Smith now leading Geving and Shuster 4-3.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
Red's gotta go a little this way, just a touch. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Beginning of the 6th end here, the 2023 USA Curling Mixed Doubles National Championships. Feature game, Rhyme and Smith leading 4-3 over Geving and Shuster. Taking a look at the scores around the other sheets real quick. Person Replies leading 5-1 over Fountain and Cott. Burr and Burr trailing Moores and Wheeler 7-1, and Hamilton up 7-1 on Rohrabacher Skeving. Thanks to our friends at Floor Curl, USA Curling member clubs are entitled to a 20% discount on any Floor Curl inflatable rink set. These rinks only take a minute to inflate or deflate and are the perfect way to promote your club at summer festivals, events, or anywhere you have a flat surface. No ice required. Visit usacurling.floorcurl.com. Use the promo code FCInflatable20. That's usacurling.floorcurl.com. Promo code FCInflatable20. That's valid until March 12th. Power play time for Geving and Shuster. Interesting result on that first shot.
Lots around.
Pushing that rock to the open, and corner guard still in play. This really needs to finish to get anything buried underneath, so I think you're going to see Shuster try to sweep it to a spot where it's at least tough to double. Trying to get it to even up. That's about as good as you can do it for placement. I think there's a double there.
Even if there was, they can't play it yet, can they?
Not yet. Nope.
Yeah.
One more throw.
My little ab was also a little bit momentum.
Steely gaze there. Rhyme. Might be frozen in place too. Sound of things with how cold it is out there. Turn draw attempt from Jason Smith.
Go, all the way.
That looks pretty good for burying the stone. Should finish a bunch here at the end. I guess they were playing the freeze with the line it was on. I always assumed they were going under the corner. Still a piece open. I think John can probably see 2/3 of that from the hack.
Matt Hamilton, I can see a third thing. Matt always thinks he can see a third of everything.
Well, he can. Usually, it just might be more than a third. There's a third, and then there's another third. Some of those stones, you can see 3/3. John was throwing to me, then he could see 4/3. That's a dad joke there. The whole rock and the player playing third. Sweeping to get around and try to stay shot. Looks like it's going to over curl and bump that stone. That rock is still open to pick out if they need to, but I'm going to guess you'll see a freeze played on that yellow stone, which essentially would play as a guard too. Maybe playing a little bit more conservative with the 1-point lead and no hammer, so they are going to hit the back stone and sit 2. So if they hit this on the nose, though, actually just about anywhere they hit that sticks around, I think John will have the double following up, yes.
Hey, you like the corner freeze? I guess I just threw it.
Maybe changing their mind.
You feel good about it.
Yeah, that was my initial thought.
Okay.
If you make that shot, it's every bit as good as making a double or a triple, because you have to, in order to remove that stone, it's going to take a couple shots.
As Jason said, he did just throw it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an aggressive call, but it's definitely the one that gives you the best result. You have to play it as though you're expecting your opponent to make whatever they're playing next. And I think Smitty would assume that John is going to make that double if they make that hit and stick. I'm saying it's tapping, so
Down to the red.
if it goes around the yellow, maybe a double anyways now for John, and most definitely is. I think they can make it even so that it goes between those 2 yellows in the back.
I'm not going to go crazy, but I think I can go control.
If it does jam on one of the back, that back yellow in the middle, it's not the end of the world.
John talking about playing control weight. I thought he'd throw this with at least normal. Play that double and get a little action off these stones. Yeah, just playing control. Or 10-5 is the call. 10-5 on the hog-to-hog time. Shuster trying to hit just off nose. Lose both of these red stones. Makes a hard turn here. Geving trying to hold it. Did over curl just a touch, but not a terrible result. Positive now for Ryman Smith is a nose hit on this yellow stone, and there really is no double for Shuster and Geving. So just over curled a touch, and big difference between hitting that an inch wider and losing both stones, missing your own, and double jamming and sitting in front of it. Out turn hit for Jason Smith. Either nose or roll a couple inches towards that yellow stone in the side 12 foot. Either way would be a good result. Smitty with no desire to get up and chase this stone, just enjoy the view from where he's at. This is hanging out a little bit though. Rolls all the way across. They leave a double back now for Shuster. There's definitely a double there to sit 3 now.
My heart's pounding too hard to talk right now.
I was just going to comment on how it got a lot quieter in the booth this end. I think I know why. You can almost hear the heart from here.
Yeah.
You know?
Deep breaths.
Double attempt for John Shuster. You get more nervous than I do when I watch John play, because I just figured he's going to make it.
Oh, I think he's going to make them.
This one needs to finish up. Oh, it does stay for a biter, too.
Wow.
The dirty double.
Yeah.
Caught just enough of all of them to keep it where it's at.
Just enough, yeah.
All we've been talking about with the action on these stones with the live striking bands. Not so live that one didn't stick around in the back of the 12-foot. You hit the remote control to deaden the bands there, Sarah?
I did, yeah. I hit the off button on the band.
Either that or just intimidated into staying with that look. You can do that too. So double attempt from Kim Rhyme. Try to force Geving and Shuster into a shot for just 2. Very important shot here. Looks like it's over curling right now. Need the sweep just to stay in the house, but over curls, and it'll be a draw for 3. Geving and Shuster. See which path they decide to take. Say a lot about which side they feel more comfortable with playing the center.
Probably whatever way she threw her first draw to. Oh, no, she didn't, because it was a power play, so. I'll throw a first draw under the center guard because there was no center guard.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since she's thrown one now. Threw a hit on her last shot in the 5th as well. The first stone of the 5th is the last time she threw a draw to 4-foot circles, which is an eternity in mixed doubles for that shot. Out-turn draw is the choice for Geving.
John
Sarah, these are
look
ones
too excited about sweeping or anything like that.
Just clean. And these ones are, it's important for John. Doesn't need to waste any big reps, but you want to put this as close to the button as you can to show your teammate that they have weight right to the button. That's well played. So 3 it is on the power play for Geving and Shuster after giving the 3 in the previous end. All those singles we saw now escalating into 3s. 6-4, Geving and Shuster leading Ryman Smith after 6.
Just because you're not a professional athlete doesn't mean that you should accept less. The beauty about what Thorne does is our product quality is the same whether they're in the athletic line or whether they're just for the everyday person. Thorne has kept true to never compromising on quality, never compromising on efficacy, never compromising on safety for not only athletes but for everyone who would use their products.
Seventh end now in this featured matchup. 2023 USA Curling Mixed Doubles National Championships. Geving and Shuster with a big 3-point end. Take a 6-4 lead on Ryman Smith. Kim and Jason will be using their power play now in the 7th. At the start of the 7th end, I'd like to tell you that Warm Room Hero is more than just software. It's run by curlers dedicated to building long-term relationships with your club. Warm Room Hero provides continuous support to ensure your website exceeds your members' expectations. Check out Warm Room Hero today at curling.club for special event pricing.
Pretty good shot there by Aileen, just nosing that corner guard and getting the red one just about as far back as they can without taking it out. Still on the rings, though.
Yeah, a little unorthodox for the beginning of the end, but ends up pushing it into the back of the 12-foot. And these power play ends, Sarah, are really the only time that we see rocks in the 12-foot score frequently. We saw last end, 2 of those for Aileen and John. But when you have 8 rocks piled up in the 4-foot, it's very unlikely that anything outside of the 4s is going to score, which we see most often in regular mixed doubles ends.
That's part of the reason that one stopped last end in the 12-foot after it got bumped, is because there's not much sweeping and action going on back there.
Yeah, it's a slide path, and that's about it, but some fresh paths on those lines, definitely.
John and Aileen, that is not the first time they've nosed a corner guard and had that result this week.
Yeah, that's one that you kind of just throw your hands in the air if you're the opponent and say, well, we got the miss we wanted, but not the way we wanted it to miss. Third throw of the end, still not able to remove any stones for Shuster and Geving. We're just going to lob one on the opposite side, split the house, and try to sit 2. Playing it to the 8-foot, not taking themselves out of too much house. Gliding a little bit now, hoping that it hits the brakes. Needs to touch the 8-foot to outcount that other red stone. Stops just in time. They are sitting 2. Nice job by Sarah Shuster to stop that rock
with my breath.
Deep breathing. Pushed that breath right through the glass all the way down to the ice. Stopped that stone.
I'm so talented that way.
Never worked
I make
for me.
a lot of shots from back here.
I couldn't do that when I was on the ice, that close to him. But from this distance, that's pretty impressive. Smitty looking to play maybe board weight here, hack board, heavy hack. So that's about as close as I can call it. So hack the board, and Smitty says heavy hack. So right between the two. Trying to set up a multiple point end by getting rid of this yellow stone. Needs to turn over a little. Looks like it is now. It depends on where they want to leave the shooter. You're rolling this all the way across to the other one. Actually, under curls. Maybe a little bit more weight than Kim was expecting, I think. That hit a third of a stone and still rolled all the way across out of the house. So Geving and Shuster firmly in control now. That yellow stone buried under the corner and number 1 counter on the opposite side. I think the killer shot right now would be the freeze for Ryman Smith on that stone to the side of the 8-foot on the tee line. So I think if you're Shuster and Geving, you should be throwing the freeze to that red stone on the top of the 12th.
Just kind of block that off.
Yeah, they're playing to the opposite side, but if this isn't shot rock in the 8s, then Ryman Smith can get shot by freezing to that stone on the tee line. So I was expecting the draw to the other side.
I don't mind making them feel like they have to play doubles on the side away from the guard.
I don't think they will play the double, though. I don't think they're going to try to make those rocks count at this point. They're just going to freeze, as Jason's doing. That's what was expected. So.
Right.
Because now they have to make all of these rocks count to get the points.
John's thought was they have to make all of the next 3 count to take the lead, but I think you're taking that away from them by playing that freeze on that redstone. So, I'm still a little surprised by that call. As I said, John and I don't disagree very often. That one, I think the freeze on the opposite side probably would have prevented them from having any opportunity to score. A 3-point end at least.
In order to lose our yellow, I think I'd have to go the red.
Jason Smith attempting that outturn freeze that we mentioned now. Turning over a little bit early, the line looks good.
It's a little heavy.
They really don't want to bounce off on this line. Very precise shot.
I think it's not as heavy as I thought. That's
Just bounces just a touch, but
that one.
he's buried at least a piece. John will have a look at it. That is a really difficult freeze to make.
That'd be a little fair play. They're just spinning and roll out. All of a sudden, the double over here is to line 3. So the yellow one. I'm just thinking about attempting to throw it just like fast line.
Text came in from our friend Specs, Dustin Tomasetti. He agreed with my call
Yeah.
on that last one.
Well, anytime there's a disagreement, it's gonna be you're right. I'm not gonna argue that.
Oh, that's not necessarily true. I can definitely be wrong. It's always good to know that the master back home in Duluth agrees. That's how I know that I'm right. Specs says I'm right, then
Yeah, I just
to hear
always
from
tend
you,
to
buddy.
agree with John. So whatever he calls is the perfect thing.
Aileen trying to get this to turn over now. Stick around. They don't want to move their own stone too much either. It could be a little bit of trouble now. Did roll to a decent spot, but probably still just playing for 2 at this point, unless they get some kind of half miss. Had that stone not spun at the end and stayed up a little bit higher, then I think Smith would probably take on that double and try to bring 3 into the picture, possibly 4.
Roll this way? How far? I mean, no, it's fine. We gotta get rid of it.
Yeah, that was very close to things starting to get a little bit dicey.
Yeah.
Geving and Shuster.
What kind of weight? You just want
Sounds like just looking to nose this, so there will still be things open for John and Aileen to hit.
Yeah, there's not much of an opportunity for more than 2 right now. If Smitty sticks around here and Aileen sticks around, then it'll just be a hit for 2. That stone in the left side of the 12-foot biting the 8-foot on the overhead, that's on the tee line, is the saver right now for John and Aileen. Intern pass from Smitty. Hanging out a little bit. Needs to get up to stick around. A long ways to curl still. And
Yellow in the back is out counting it.
it looks like that's 4th count on the overhead. I think it's 1 and 4, 1, 4, 5 for red, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 7 for red, and 2, 3, 6 for yellow. You have to see some pretty crazy stuff for that number 7 counter to end up playing in this end. I don't think we will.
So is she hitting this red one, or is she looking just to tap it back a little bit?
It sounds like the call was just a freeze. Which if they think that they're 2nd and 3rd on the opposite side, there's really not much danger in playing it. So the intern freeze attempt from Geving, trying to lock on this stone.
It's got a curl. Got a curl.
It's going to catch a piece of it. Will it push it out of count? Not sure. I think there may be a hit for 2 now. Yeah, it had to be one or the other there. Either bump it far enough to get it out of count or freeze, and ended up right between the 2. So in-turn hit for Kim Rhyme. Scored 2 points. They have to be careful not to hang on this line. If they do roll towards the outside and touch that red stone, it won't be a counter anymore. So lots of room to roll on the inside across the house. Anything nose to inside is fine. They do have a stopper over there as well. Rhymes' final stone, playing this with a pretty significant amount of weight too. Smitty calling sweep. They may need to use that stopper on the other side. Oh, made it sound a lot more drastic than it was. Everything just fine. Kim giving Jason a little grief for that. Don't scare me. So it is a score of 2, and we will be tied up going to the 8th end. Geving and Shuster with hammer, 6-6 to the 8th.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
What we believe will be the final end of this game, our feature game, 9 a.m. draw. Draw 6 for Pool A. Ryman Smith, Geving, and Schuster tied 6-6. Tyler George with a slightly nervous Sarah Schuster in the broadcast booth. Sarah, your husband's got hammer. That's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, I like him having hammer.
Maybe a little more commentary from my side of things in this end is the nerves on the married side.
As I hold my breath the whole end.
If there's a giant exhale of air, that is most likely Sarah.
I try to move my mic up when I do that.
Good draw to the back of the button from Kim Rhyme to start off this end. Aileen Geving trying to follow that down. Probably another nervous spouse at home right now if Garrett's watching his wife. Take a breath as well, Garrett. A very nice shot by Aileen. Right to the top of the button. Just a little tap. Sitting shot rock. We'll start to see these rocks pile up again, but be interesting, Sarah, after this shot, if, depending on where it ends up, if John and Aileen decide to try to open things up and peel that guard. This is a little tight out of Smitty's hand.
Yeah, they might not have to peel the guard if it's moved over.
Yeah, that's all over the guard already. Definitely an error there from Smitty, and John and Aileen extremely happy with that result.
Sounds like there might be some naughty teachers back at home right now letting the children watch some TV in class as well.
Well, don't narc on the teachers. They're trying to help
it's not
the kids out.
Yeah. school really does follow them a lot, so it's kind of fun with that.
Well, I mean, really, it's higher education for the kids, though, too, with Professors Shuster and Smith
Physics
teaching
lessons,
this class.
math lessons, geometry lessons, got it all.
I only mentioned the men's names because of how vocal both of them are, so they are the ones that are doing most of the speaking and teaching. You do hear a lot of communication between John and Aileen, though, a lot of back and forth. John just trying to move these stones around and unlock the back red. Really like to stay on the nose if you can. That's pretty good. Rolls away a little bit. Maybe
Good
an
outcome,
opportunity to bump these around a little bit. Getting a timeout now from Smith. Here comes Coach Rhyme.
Like they have a minute 42 left on their time clock, so plenty of time.
Listen in to Jason and Kim here, see what they're thinking.
You know how it works from here? Don't know. I know the Olympics, the top 4 make it to the next.
Talking about playing back 12 and moving these around, we're still remembering that we're giving you the play-by-play on the conversation as well.
Yeah, in the Olympics, like, they take the top 4 and then you see semifinals and finals.
I guess this is pretty boring, and as far as listening in, they can't do that.
Well, we want to hear so we can tell them what they're saying, so we promise that we're getting information for you. Smitty's talking about how they need to set something up for later. They have 3 shots left.
Kind of talking about building a little wall back there.
I think the first round of the playoffs is a plan. And I think
Him saying there's no draw path in because of the corner guards, too. It's very astute. With the 3 rocks in there, if they want to move things around, Smitty also correctly saying that you have to play hack weight to move all 3 stones. The angles aren't great to set up a ton of backing, and I can guarantee if they tap these around at the wrong angles, then John's going to try to lose as many of them as he can. He trusts that Aileen has draw weight for that final shot if it does come to it.
No lack of practice of that draw weight in this game.
Certainly not. Only back 8s here out of hand, maybe back 12, so really need to go. It's probably going to overcurl with that weight. Still trying to hold the line. All right, does put a couple on the back of the 4-foot. Now maybe a little dangerous playing any in-offs in here, not to leave something on the back of the butt. Now it looks like he's going to try to clear 3 of these stones, playing off of the red rock and the side of the 4-foot, rolling into their own 2. So they're not concerned about how many they score, obviously. They have no problem losing both of those other 2 yellows as well. Playing the out turn in off of that red stone. Really want to lose as many of these as possible, hanging out a little bit. Does lose those 2 yellows, at least pushes them away as we mentioned. So Ryman Smith accomplished their main goal of moving them to the point that now they can create backing. Shuster and Geving really just trying to clear up that 4-foot as much as possible and leave as little as they can for freeze opportunities.
That's what's fun about it, though.
This will likely be a freeze, maybe just tap it a couple inches. The problem is a freeze on the inside of this yellow stone, Sarah, and there'll be a drag effect where Shuster could pretty easily lose both of those red stones.
I kind of see him hitting something on his next shot regardless.
I think they're going to try to move that stone as opposed to freeze for that very reason. I agree with that. Maybe move it a little farther than they wanted to, so now pretty simple call for Shuster just to clear both of these. Likely that John wants to keep the shooter right there. With them staggered the way they are, if he throws up weight, they should still both go. But he doesn't want to peel out because then, even though it's a freeze on a rock in the back of the 8-foot, then Aileen would probably have to play a draw to it. But if the shooter stays, then Kim is going to have to stick around. Oh, this one looks like it's flared a little bit. Does lose both, but rolls off, so now there is a freeze on that rock in the back of the 8s. I don't know if that was the goal to lose the shooter too, but I thought he just tried to nose sit on top of the button. And
yeah, I don't think the goal was to lose it. He talked about wanting Aileen to just be able to throw a peel on her last one instead of having to make a draw to the 4-foot.
Rich Ruinen with the interesting comment too that Smitty could have thrown a guard on his last and made John have to peel possibly. I don't disagree there. You see the other scores and some finals. Persinger implies do lock up that 1 seed for the playoffs. The 6-0 record, 7-2 win, Moores and Wheeler. Getting to 3-3 now. The 8-3 victory. Hamilton with the comfortable win. Get to 4-2 with 3 wins in a row.
Smitty and Rhyme do play that number 1 seed, Persinger implies, in the next draw. So this is a big game for both of these teams.
Final shot for Kim Rhyme, trying to lock this freeze on. Line looks close. It's all on the weight now. Line looks very good. Nicely done by Kim. That's about as good as you can do it. So either or now for Aileen Geving. Either peel that stone out or just draw the 4-foot. Really, it's just the shooter's choice here, Sarah. It's not a right or wrong shot. Whichever she likes playing.
Those guards keep you from doing that?
What's that? Sorry.
Would the guards keep people going there really soft and stop it on the button? Because the angle you go at?
They could, yeah. Like
They are going to play the peel. Got to take this rock out. Here John said if it does happen to curl, then you can still play it for nose. A lot of places to hit this where you can win the game. With the action on these stones and the live striking bands, as we've been talking about, that red rock should go out pretty easily with anything with peel on the outside of the stone. So final rock of this game, Aileen Geving. Out-turn peel. Calling sweep early. Oh, now playing for nose. Didn't need to play for nose. That rock goes out very easily. And 3 for good measure for Geving and Shuster. Final score 9-6, and the stress on my left side here in the booth just exited quickly, as did the headset. We'll just thank Sarah for helping out as she exits stage left, I think, pretty quickly here. We take a look at the updated standings now. There you see Persinger implies with that number 1 seed for the playoffs and the bye locked in. Geving, Shuster, Hamilton in pole position for those second and third seeds for the playoffs. Moores, Wheeler, Rhymes, Smith not eliminated as of yet. Only one game back on those teams. Burr and Burr, Fountain and Cott at 2 and 4, now eliminated from playoff contention. And Rohrbacher, Skebby at 0 and 6 going to their final draw. The opposite side going into this afternoon's draw. TC and Dropkin at 5 and 0, Strauss Casper 4 and 1. Anderson, Stapera, Nickel at 3 and 2. Anderson, Richardson 2 and 3. Bookout, Weeza, Mulaney, Sinnott, and Podall Perry all at 1 and 4. Looking at this afternoon's feature game, Nickel and Nickel taking on Anderson and Richardson. Both teams fighting like crazy. The Nickel squad still in decent playoff position at 3 and 2. Anderson, Richardson really needing a win to keep their hopes alive at 2 and 3. That will do it for us for this morning draw. We will see you for that game at 12:30 this afternoon, Eastern Time. For Tyler George and what's left of Sarah Schuster, we will see you this afternoon. Thanks for watching.